to my channel. Today I want to show you how we can use NumPy, a scientific computing package, in Python. We can do a lot of different things, and this video will serve as a quick overview of all the different use cases for NumPy. So let's jump right in. Open up your text editor of choice and then open up a terminal or a command prompt depending on your operating system. I'm on Mac, so I'll open up a terminal and type in pip3 install NumPy. Execute this if you don't already have NumPy. I already have it, so I'm going to cancel this command. Create a new file for this example. I'll name mine mpexample.py. The first thing we need to do is to import NumPy. So type in import NumPy and then as mp. From here, we're going to dive right into why NumPy is so good. NumPy is so good because it decreases the operational time that you need whenever dealing with large amounts of data. It does this by using arrays. Let's look at a few sample arrays. Looking at these two arrays, we have one array that is just numbers. We can define an array by using the function mp.array. The second array has a few items denoted by quotations as strings. Let's print these out and see what they look like in the console. We can do this by typing in print and then the names of the variables. So print numbers and then print strings. Go ahead and save your file and open up a new terminal. Execute your script by typing in Python 3 and then the name of your script. So mine was mpexample.py and then hit execute. We can see from the output in the terminal that the first array is a set of numbers. The second array, however, changes everything to a string since we have a few strings in our array. NumPy does this automatically because it wants to change all standard array values to the same data type. This makes the operations happen much quicker. Every array within NumPy doesn't have to be the same data type though. We can use a thing called a structured array to have different data types appear in the same array. Pasting in an example, we can see a structured array is called the same way as a standard array. In this one, we can see that we have a string, an integer, and then a float number. When using a structured array, we have to define these values. So for this example, we have a string, an integer, and a float. We can see here that U16 stands for a string, integer, and then a float number. If you want to quickly see all the different data types that may be important to you, I'll post those in the description below. Let's look at what we get in the terminal whenever we print our structured array. Save your file and re-execute your script. We can see that we do get a string, an integer, and a float. The only downside to using structured arrays instead of standard ones is that you cannot use mathematical functions on these inherently. Since we've already discussed data types, let's look at how we can figure out the data type of an array. We can check the data type of an array by using the command dtype. Type in print the array that you want to check. I'll check the numbers one and then dtype. When we run the script, we can see that the dtype for the numbers array is an integer. Next, let's look at a function called shape. We can view the shape of an array by typing in the function .shape. Print numbers.shape will return this value. After executing the command, we can see that we're given a tuple of 2 and 3. 2 just denotes how many arrays that we have in that set, and then the number 3 indicates the number of items in each array. We can reshape these sets by a command called reshape. We can reshape the numbers array by typing in print and then numbers.reshape and then the shape of the new array that we want. So 3 and 2. Save it and execute it. Now instead of our 2, we have 3 sets of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. If you want to transpose your data set, you can do that with the command transpose. You can see this by typing in print, the array, and then transpose. Instead of our sets being 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, they're now 0, 3, 1, 4, and 2, 5. Now that we know how to figure out the shapes of different data sets, we need to be able to call the data that we want. We can do this by indexing any array. Pasting in a new sample, we can see it more clearly. With this array, it's just a number set from 0 to 10. Let's say that we wanted to get every other value in this array starting at 1 and ending at 9. We can do this by typing in a variable name, the array that we want to index, and then how we want to index it. So for us, we want to start at 1, we want to end at 9, and we want our step size to be 2. Save this and print it out in your terminal. When we print this to the terminal, we get exactly what we expect. We start at 1 and end at 7, and our step size is 2. We can also index with negative numbers. We can demonstrate negative indexing by creating a new variable. Call the data set that you want to index, and then let's choose the value -1, an ending value of -10, and then a step size of -1. Save this and print it to your terminal. When we print this to the terminal, we see that we have successfully negatively indexed the array. Next, we need to learn how to validate our data. NumPy has a masking feature built in, so let's import that now. Type import numpy.ma as ma. A NumPy mask is just a way to remove data from your data set. Using a sample here, we can see that we have an array of all positive numbers except 1. Whenever you identify a mask value as true, it removes the array value from that array. When we save and print this to the terminal, we can see it being removed. Here, since we've created a mask with the true value in the 4th position, we have removed the -1 value manually. So now our data set is only 1, 2, 3, blank, 5. We can also do this conditionally using the mask where command. Here we have the same thing, except we're using a conditional format of every value that is less than 0, and we return a new array where this condition applies. We can print MC, and we should expect MC to equal MX, and here it does. This is a good way to remove data from your set that isn't valid. Now that we know how to work with arrays and validate the data, let's see all the things that we can do with them. Let's import the module math to see all the functions that we have available to us. Let's work with these 4 sample arrays. I know these examples will not benefit everyone, so I'm just going to show you all of them very quickly. We can take the sign of a dataset, have a cumulative sum of a dataset, add 2 arrays together, raise exponents to every value in the dataset, find all the absolute values, convert an array to a matrix. From NumPy core, we can convert strings to all uppercases. Given 2 dates, we can find all the business days in between them. We have access to financial operations. Here we have a future value function. We can use NumPy for linear algebra operations, like taking the dot product between 2 arrays. We can find out when a logical statement applies to 2 different arrays. Here, as an example, we have greater than and less than. We can create a random array of a specified shape, and we also have access to a large statistical library. I hope this was a good introduction on how useful the NumPy package is. There's so many different things that we can use it for. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Until next time.